Hi, everyone, and hope everyone's doing just great as always. And thank you for watching, of course. And I welcome you to subscribe if you haven't, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And again, appreciate you checking out the channel and watching the video. So, I've got a great topic here that came up in the comments, and I got really excited about it. So, thank you for the idea. It came from Soul Graphics, and one of the questions was about the use of. This is really cool because I never really got into this too much. I've tried pendulums before, actually. I had to think about it. It was a long, long time ago, and I really don't remember too much, to be honest. But I just remember over the course of the past a long time, there's a lot of different things I researched or looked at or tried out. But I did try pendulums, but very briefly, and didn't even really understand what they were. So the question came up the other day, and then I kind of talked it over and asked some questions to my spiritual guides for answers, and I found it so fascinating, just the idea behind it. So, like with anything, I really endorse trying to understand something completely. To be able to speak about something or to learn about it and continue to evolve it, we need a firm understanding of what something is, so we also know what it isn't. And I think that goes for pretty much anything in life. Just to be able to have a good, clear explanation and understanding of how things work. And this blew my mind. I thought it was so awesome because I just never thought about this kind of stuff before. So anyways, as far as pendulum goes, real quick, so what they are, it's a way to, it's a spiritual tool, or it's a way that's used to contact the spiritual realms. I guess there's a ton of different uses for them, scientific, non-scientific, that sort of thing. But as far as a tool for communication with between yourself and the spiritual realms, it is absolutely valid, and it can most definitely work. And before I get into how that works and everything, I'm going to show you some pictures, kind of what they look like, just to give you an idea. It's usually something that's on a string or a chain that you hold, and then there's something weighted at the bottom, usually like a crystal or that sort of thing, to give it some weight. And the idea is that you hold it as still as possible, and you plant the idea. For example, spinning one way is yes, or the other way is no, or back and forth or left and right, that sort of thing, to create the directions, for example. And then you ask a question, and then you receive an answer and see which way it spins. So it's a very valid way. It's a cool way to be able to start to receive answers, even if you can't hear anything at all. So, but real quick, I want to show you, kind of give you an idea of what they look like and that sort of thing. So, okay, so here's some example of pendulums and other related materials. I just Googled pendulums for spiritual use, and you can see, in general, I just wanted to show you what they look like. So here's I think it's fair to say, a pretty typical one. The way that the, shape is. Like you can see, it's something heavy, looks like mostly triangular, but something heavy at the end of a string, here's some other shapes here, right here too, to allow it to be able to move, and move freely and effectively. So this is basically what a pendulum is. And it looks like they have stands too, where you can, hold the pendulum for you. I don't know if you're, this is kind of interesting. I don't know if you're supposed to, I believe you're always supposed to hold it. I think this is a stand just to hold it there for you in the meantime. But I'm curious if it would work if you were just able to, not have a physical connection and not touch it. Possible, probably less likely, I would think, to be honest, because you'd have to use your body as the conduit or the tool, that mind-body connection, and then your connection, using your spiritual ears, for example, whether you could hear the messages or not, to create that connection to the answer itself. So possible. I'll have to look into that, or maybe even give it a shot. That's curious, but I imagine it'd be more effective to simply hold the pendulum. Period. Anyway, so it looks like, and there's books here too, all kinds of stuff you can read and purchase online. But this is just kind of a general idea of what they look like. Okay, so there you go. I just wanted to give you a brief idea kind of what they look like. To start with, I found this kind of interesting. So let me see where to begin. As far as, okay, so like the basics, of course, as humans, we are, remember, everything has a duality, so has an opposite. So if there is, hot, there is cold, period. By nature of something existing, it has an opposite. So, and of course, there's a spectrum of things in the middle that can also be defined, but there's always two concepts, period, for everything. Now, for humans, we are physical and non-physical, plain and simple. Everything that exists, if it's, since physicality is a concept, so is non-physicality. So we have our minds, our thoughts, our souls, that sort of thing, everything that's non-physical about us. And of course, we have our physical bodies. Now, we use both senses, like we use our physical ears to hear, each and every day. And of course, we can hear our own thoughts. But that's us hearing non-physically. But there's a very real connection there, of course. So if you think, for example, I'm going to pick this up. And then, so you do. Your mind and your body are just seamlessly connected, and we have control over those things. So that being said, what the pendulum is when you hold that and you ask for answers. And you can ask out loud, or you can ask non-physically if you want to. You just want to make it very clear what you're asking and maybe repeat it, to make sure that you receive an answer. The cool thing is you're going to get an answer no matter what, whether you can hear it or not. And that's the cool thing with the pendulum, is that you can try to use that. It's almost like a tuning fork, to allow the answer to come through you. And this is how it works. So it's important. One thing to point out is because your mind, of course, has different levels, like they talk about in psychology. There's, your conscious mind, your pre-conscious, and your subconscious. So you might ask the question, well, what if it's just my subconscious mind affecting it, one way or the other? It's possible. It's absolutely possible. So I think one of the tricks to doing that is just remain as still as possible. You want to be as still and focus on silence as much as possible, and just allow the information to come through you, rather than think, if you think yes, 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 or no, 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 in one direction or another, it may affect your subconscious mind. May start to create your hand or your body to create very small movements in accordance with what you're thinking or expecting. So, and is there a way to tell the difference between, if it's coming through you or not? Not easily. So really, like with anything, it takes practice and faith, and just trying it over and over until you get better and better at it. So, playing cards is a good way to do that. Like, for example, if you're wondering how to practice, if you get a deck of cards, shuffle them and then lay them down and just ask, for example, is this a red card or a black card? Then narrow it down. Is it a diamond or a heart? That sort of thing, to get more specific. And then just write these things down. And it's a great way to practice. And that way you can start, because these are things that are beyond yes or no answers. You want something that, if you're going to practice, I would suggest something that's not a simple yes or no. That way, it's not just 50-50. Cards are a great way to do that. And you can narrow it down by the shape and the color, and whether it's a picture card like a king, queen, for example, that sort of thing. So that's a great way to practice and be able to have something to track to, so that it's just not, a 50-50 guess or your subconscious mind. Now, One thing important to point out too is I was asking, because I noticed all these things are made out of crystals, right? So I was asking, well, is there certain materials that are more receptive to these sorts of like vibrations or frequencies? And they said, yes, absolutely. Like crystals. I heard, yes, I guarantee. I forget what the exact response was. But it was something along the lines, yes, I guarantee that's true. And crystals, something about crystals being a great conduit for that sort of thing. Now, I don't know what kinds or specifics. There's a whole field of literature out there surrounding those sorts of things, and I'm just not familiar enough with it quite yet. But I did get confirmation that certain things are better to more conducive for that sort of energy. So here's how the process works, and it's really cool. So just remember, everything in the afterlife exists non-physically. Our spirits and our souls and everything like that, all of it, just like everything exists down here physically. So that's why it takes time and effort to be able to like build up your skills with psychic abilities, because if it were physical, it'd be easy to hear, be easy to see, that sort of thing. But our spirits and souls are non-physical. That's what survives when we die. That's what we're going to be one day. So we don't really use our non-physical eyes or ears that much, other than when we're thinking on a day-to-day basis. If it were that easy to pick up on this energy, we'd be hearing people's thoughts all the time or seeing things more. It's just that, simply put, since we're little kids, we just basically we're not taught to open up to that level of using our senses, our non-physical senses. So it just takes time and practice, and you can start to develop that. So the way this works is when you ask a question, and again, you can ask out loud or not, you will get an answer. You will absolutely get an answer, but it will be non-physical, and you may not hear it. It'll take time you just have to develop that sort of thing and start practicing using, your spiritual ears, your non-physical ears, so to speak, to be able to pick up on the answer. So whether it's a yes or no, that's what starts to guide the pendulum. So just like we have our mind-body connection, and I'm like, my mind says, raise your right arm. So once you say, okay, once you set the directions that non-physically, you have to make, you don't necessarily, you do have to set that up within your own mind or have instructions, that sort of thing. There's no hard rule about, spinning to the right means yes or the other way means no. You have to define that so you understand what the pendulum's doing. And then once you ask the question, even if you can't hear it, your subconscious, the idea is that you are allowing your subconscious to hear it, and then your subconscious will start to tell your body how to react. So even though you can't hear, say you ask an angel a question and they say, the answer is yes, or they repeat it, yes, 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 so you can hear it over and over, then your subconscious mind will hear that and know, okay, because you already told yourself that, right is to the yes. And then so if you hold it there, even though you're not hearing the yes, your subconscious mind does, and it will your body will respond to that. So you have to be in a state of just allowing and relaxing and being able to receive that information, allowing it to come through you. Quick point, I was just thinking as I was talking through all that, because the thought came up, well, what if, if it's that easy to, don't worry about anything, taking control or anything like that. We have, there's no dark energies or entities or anything like that. If it makes you feel better, just always communicate with maybe a loved one in the afterlife, or even better, an angel or something that represents good, for example. But nothing can control you, just to let you know. We are just like, I can't look at somebody at the bus if I'm on the bus and say, if they're sitting down and I'm like, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, they're not just going to stand up. We can't control things with our mind. People can't control us on the same degree. What allows that is awareness and just awareness of what we're doing, to exercise our free will and knowledge of what we're doing. So you're not giving up control or anything like that. You're just allowing your subconscious to be the connection to the answer, and then it manifesting through your mind and then through the movements of your body. So that's why you have to be in a place of total silence or receiving energy, I think would be the best way to put it. And just allow yourself and the pendulum to be the tool to receive the answer. But don't worry about any sort of control or mind control or any possibility of that. We exercise free will on a day-to-day basis, and nothing like that can occur. It's not allowed to occur. That's a whole nother video, actually. So dark entities and energy just aren't allowed to manifest here. We can't summon. You could summon. You can create these things, but they're self-generated, believe it or not, or that it could be archetypes coming to life. So this place is kept it's very tightly controlled. So you can't just invite dark energy and then something from the afterlife will show up and start to cause problems. Believe it or not, it's all generated by us, if that sort of thing happens. So again, if it's makes you feel more comfortable, just speak with spiritual beings that represent things like positivity and light and that sort of thing, to allow this to work better for you, if you will. So, well, that is basically it that I wanted to share. But it's totally cool because it's a great way to be able to, even if you can't hear or see anything. Me personally, I used to see a lot, and then I just started focusing on hearing more and more because it was more distracting. It was too distracting for me to be able to see things. So the more I focused on I can get glimpses or little bits of visual energy sometimes, but I just choose to try and shut it out for the most part, and just focus on sound. It's a lot easier for me that way. And it just takes practice, and you develop it over time, and like with anything else. And these are a great tool to be able to receive answers, whether you can see or hear or feel or anything like that. So thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions or thoughts on that, please let me know. And as always, thank you for watching. And please take care, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you.